Hello.
Okay. Oh, my video just went blurry there for a second. Am I blurry on your end? I think I'm blurry.
A little
Look
bit,
at that.
but I've noticed a lot of times that
There we go.
that it comes out clear on the recording. So
There we go. So, uh, got a lot of there's some things to unpack. The Federal Reserve just reduced interest rates by a quarter point. What are you seeing? What are you hearing from your mortgage people? Or they're probably all happy until rates don't go down.
it's I mean I think they got a little bit of an adjustment, but there's optimism, there's hope. It's positive sentiment for the time to come. Um, but we'll see on you know action over everything. There's
Yeah.
people that are crushing it, doing tons of business when rates were high, and like we always say, it's the wind's always going to change. You just got to adjust your sails. So
The interesting thing with our industries is that there's one thing that there's abundance in, and that's hope. That's
yeah,
the like that hope is not a viable strategy,
no,
but there is a lot of hope. I don't think people look and see the trend. The trend has been over the last rate cuts that rates have either not been affected or have gone up. Most
right,
of the time they see kind of a little bit of an adjustment, but nothing to write home to mom about. And quite honestly, and we've talked about this, lowering rates is not going to fix the underlying problem of affordability.
yeah,
So, like, yeah, you lower rates, the payment comes down, but that doesn't increase wages. That doesn't give all these people their job back. There's a lot more things that are occurring. But to your point, homes will sell. We just need to make sure that we're positioning our people or real estate professionals and mortgage brokers. They just need to position themselves to be the one to, if you're the agent, sell it. Doesn't matter if you're on the listing side or the buying side. And if you're the loan officer, align with that agent so you can get the loan. Like,
right. Yeah, I
it's,
think last rate I think last rate adjustment the rates went up. Good old, you know, buy the rumor, sell the news. It's already kind of baked into the cake.
yeah.
But
Well, let's see what mortgage rates are today. Let's ask Grok. Let's ask
yeah,
Super
there you
Grok.
go.
I went back and I got Super Grok. So now I'm
Good.
running Chat GPT Plus and Super Grok Parallel
Yeah.
because I find that I use them. I use them for two different things. Actually,
Yeah.
I use them to validate each other. Is kind of how I'm going back and forth. But I'm also there was a minute there that Grok just I don't know. It was just clunky, but it's not clunky anymore.
There's growing pains. It's funny how when you're using these tools continuously, you'll see the ebbs and flows of stuff. A new GPT blankety blank will come out, and you're like, well, that was kind of a step backwards from from the last model. They got some kinks to work out here, but um, are you? What do you find yourself using Grok more for compared to chat?
GPT. So I use Grok, I use Gemini, and I use
Hmm.
Chat GPT. Now, Chat GPT, as our videos will show, you
Yeah.
are the early adopter. I was right behind you on that. And so I have so much content in Chat GPT as far as project files and
Right.
such that it's one of those things that it's turned into my general practitioner, my general
Yeah.
LLM. I use Chat GPT, excuse me, I use Grok, Super Grok, because it's tied directly into X and it gives you real time information.
Right.
Like on anything, like I just typed in mortgage rates and seeing what happened up to the 25 basis points, and it throws in all these different articles. It references a lot of different things in real time. So I like that, but I also like Grok now with the newer version. It's wickedly fast,
Nice.
and I like it to it's very gosh, how do I put it? Very professionally, very structured, very written. Now, I used to use Claude for writing. I think that was from your suggestion, but I
Hmm.
find that ChatGPT, I like the way that ChatGPT punches out initial content better than Claude.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I'm paying for it anyway, so why have an extra service if one of them is
Right. I lost you.
no?
I got you back now. Breaker, breaker. No, I got feedback. Dance party. There we go.
Well, I switched you over to my iPhone,
There you go.
so so that's my
beautiful
backup.
on beautiful on the fly adjustment.
Here, let me see if I can go back to my Yeti. Tell me if that connected. No?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you're
did.
good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Um,
You-
okay, so I was explaining how I use Claude. Did you miss that part?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so I got that. So I'm using Gemini because it ties into Google. And I
Yeah.
got to tell you, do you ever follow Neil Patel?
Not very closely. I mean, he used to, quite a bit, but it's been a couple years since I
Dude,
really.
the stuff that he's posting on X is
Hmm.
money because he's really going deep in his data based
Yeah.
on consumer behavior, based on
Right.
how the new algorithms are working with AI. And you and I have talked on before the SEO, what's old again is new. And so SEO
Yeah.
is and he's tying into that, but he's going really granular. For example, you just
Right.
can't post based on keywords. Algorithms are now looking for supporting content that you've posted based on that keyword to give authority.
Mm.
And so he just talks on that. So I follow him and I read a bunch of his stuff now.
That's cool. I'll have to get plugged in. Always appreciated his insights into things and his overarching like transparency for what they do company wise. I think he's done a really good job of tons of stuff. So
Yeah, and
I'll
he's
have to
been
get
around for
plugged
a long
back into
time.
that
He's
for
been around for
sure.
a long time. So one of the things I wanted
He was
to
working a lot with Eric Sue. Is that the guy's name? There was like another. Anyway, not to go too far
oh and
off the beaten path.
well that just I don't know why this just pumped into my mind, but there's speculation or belief that SpaceX is going to go public.
Yeah,
And have you seen that? I'm totally
I
going to buy shares. I'm
saw.
totally going to buy some.
I saw the yes, I saw valuation schedule, and it seemed like they were like aggressively, buying back shares or transferring. But yeah, that's it's I I mean, at the end of the day, like you look, you're like, "Oh, well, what do they do?" You're like, well, they're launching internet everywhere. Like,
Well, quite literally,
yes,
building robots, launching internet, have a reusable rocket. He's like
yeah,
he like built the modern version of the he built the real version of the Buck Rogers rocket.
yeah. So I was listening to something. I don't remember what it was, but it was in that same context of like, um, how so many of the things that he does work together, and it got into the thread of the logistics for powering AI. cooling
Yeah,
everything, all of that stuff, and it was like,
we already have it.
and then yeah, and it got into the concept of having all of those servers in space. So there's like
It's
would
cooling.
be almost no need for any cooling, which is like the amount of water that it used, and then solar powered from the sun. So it was like I thought that was like a really cool tangent of a bottleneck for AI and what most of these folks are running into, as far as like growth is concerned there. So
Yeah.
that should bode well for Grok.
Well, Grok is really embedded into the Tesla
Right.
infrastructure. Like the most recent update has even more Grok into it, to whereas you can just have a conversation with Grok and it'll set it's it's voice activated, but with what it's like on your phone now. You can just talk to it in real language now.
That's awesome.
You don't need to know really commands. So, one of our videos that we have recently done in the past, as I've been going through and putting thumbnails and adjusting for things, that has gotten like some viewership, is our virtual assistant one that we did.
Hmm.
I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks back.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of revisit that because we didn't really go deep on that. We talked about how you're using them and how I'm using them. And I'm about ready to dust off for the first of the year. I'm actually going to bring on a virtual assistant for not for the corporate position that I hold, but more of a personal assistant.
Yeah.
And to really, I'm mapping out the process for Semper Ruck and its content and its blogging for 2026. I'm really going to go into that vertical. I seem to be like a lone ranger in that space, which is interesting to me. But then also the real estate side of things. So I guess one of the things that I had wrote down for you, because you've had virtual assistants for consistently for like, gosh, 6 years probably. I can't even remember.
Yeah. Yeah. At least.
What do you think is the real cost of ignoring a virtual assistant? Because AI
Mm.
is now coming up. We've talked about this. It's not exactly there yet to be a fully functioning autonomous agent. So there's still a need for it. But what do you think the real costs, maybe 2 or 3 things that you see as the real cost of ignoring or not getting a virtual assistant?
So one of the things that I will do personally, every so often I'll do like an audit, a time audit. So just simple Google spreadsheet, and mark down everything that I'm doing every 15 minutes for the entire day. And there's, after going through that, and you could do it just for a week. I mean, it might sound a little bit aggressive, but it gives you tons of clarity on how you're spending your time, what things you're spending a lot of your time on, and what's bringing you energy, taking your energy. So doing just like a simple audit there, and it's very um it's very eye-opening to see where, like, oh my god, like, $10 an hour task.
So, how much, when did you do your last audit?
It was actually beginning of this month.
Okay.
I do it at least once a quarter, but I'm trying to I'm trying to get a little bit more aggressive
And
with
you're
it. So
doing that for Monday through Friday. You do it for a week period.
Monday Monday through Friday for a week. I mean, once you do it, I mean, there's periods where I've done it one week and then like, oh my God, I've been so productive because I'm actually like putting putting it right in my face. I'm like, I'm doing this again next week.
Yeah.
Um, so one week simple spreadsheet, just 15-minute increments for throughout the day, like from when you get up. Obviously, you don't have to go super crazy, but Monday through Friday, simple block of what you're doing, just couple words on what you did that 15 minutes, and it's surprising how much time you're just not being productive or doing stuff that's just below your pay grade.
Yeah. So, do you set your
um
Apple Watch to go off every 15 minutes to remind you?
no, I do. So I have a little like kitchen timer unit.
Oh, that's cool.
And it just bap and it'll beep, hit it again. um
That's a good idea.
and Yeah, and it'll just sit right on my desk, and I do that. This is helpful for me too, just to get stuff done throughout the day. Like, all right, I'm gonna focus for 20 minutes. I mean, I you know horrible ADHD type tendencies where I'm
Oh, you
all
go
over the
all over the
place.
place. You go into one
So it's
thing.
like rabbit hole. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna do this right now. Set my timer. Pomodoro timer works really good for that too.
So, given the size of your team and given how much you're paying and what the hourly average rate is that you're paying them out of out of whichever country. I know that you have the Philippines. I
Yeah.
think you've worked with India. There's a lot of different other emerging countries that you use that the labor is a lot less, especially compared to their. We've talked about this where people have a stigma of paying someone from the Philippines $4 or $5 an hour, not recognizing that that's like a really healthy middle
Yeah.
income wage over there when you transfer value of the dollar over. But have you ever looked to see how much it would cost you to have that equal size team with American based employees?
Um, not like uh not anything like legitimate, like pound for pound type
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, it's fairly easy to ballpark certain things, and it's night and day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not only that, just the like administrative logistics that come in, that also come with you know W2, um which that's like that's my
Well, yeah,
kryptonite.
and that's part of the cost right there too is having an accountant, adding in the whole payroll, paying payroll tax,
Yeah.
like that all goes on top of that. When I was an operator of the real estate company, I share this story with a lot of different owners of real estate companies. I oversee the learning, professional development, and when I was an operator of a company, I've always said that learning and training and education, it has to be done, it has to be part of the value
Yeah.
proposition. It has to be scheduled. Someone has to create the content. Someone has to put the bandwidth within their schedule to either put on demand or manage it or do the class. And then I say somebody has to pay for it too. So that can either
Right.
be you as the business owner, which is typically how it falls on, or you can leverage a system, a system that does it for you. And when I was the operator here in Orange County, I was paying a full time living wage of $75,000 a year for that one person. And that one
Hmm.
person, they did other things, but it was only really 9 to 5. It was Monday through Friday. Really, we cut out early on Fridays.
Yeah.
All holidays off, paid. Had to give, there's a lot of different things that came
Right.
came with that. And then when you look at, I had a staff, the largest staff that I had with virtual assistants was 3. When you add up, and they were full time, they were working graveyards, they were showing up, they were smiling. If you were to add up those 3 people and compared it to that one person, it wasn't even half. It was
Right.
It was well, maybe no, it wasn't even. wasn't even half. Like, of three to. So if you look at it that from that range, it's a it's like a 3-to-1 ratio, maybe 4 or 5-to-1 ratio. Now
Yeah.
there's something that you can't replace. Like you can't replace you.
Yeah.
You can't replace someone with our experiences, and you can't replace the rainmaker, the front man, the public facing. I think for me at least, what you can do is back office systems.
Mm-hmm.
Sales didn't really work either. I tried to do that. It might work for you. I can't. I haven't cracked the code on how to get salespeople from the Philippines, or from a remote salesperson. But you typically compensate them a lot on commission though too. You give them the base and the
Yeah, sales outside the U.S. Ticket price. I mean, I haven't seen it work over like $200. Um,
what do you mean?
Personally,
What do you mean 200
uh,
bucks?
like for a sales price, like to be able to get you know more than $200 from somebody.
Oh,
Um,
you need to have to have somebody to outsource sales. You got to have a low ticket item.
a low tip. I
Yeah,
mean, if you want somebody from outside the U.S. or non-English, native person, they either got to be, you know, uh, I mean, they can do stuff. That's all to say that like they can sell via message, so via like chat, text message, Facebook, Instagram,
yeah,
all that good stuff. But um, I've never been able to get it work past like a $200 price point.
really.
So now that is to say, like if you have like a serious, robust like content authority, all of that stuff in place, you could probably push that significantly higher. Um, but cold outbound type traffic. uh I mean, I was getting it to work from outbound cold call back in like 2022, 2020. I was like 2023 cold outbound from Central Mexico, Central South America folks. And it was fine, but that's still, it's like there's a threshold.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a threshold in all different sales environments. Like, selling from a webinar, your price point cutoff on that's like usually $500.
Well, and
Uh,
the interesting thing with that too is we continue to talk about consumer behavior, and when you look at Google 12 years ago, what they had said is that 88% of all consumers, they make the decision on who they're going to buy or what they're going to buy or who they're going to work with before they meet with them. That was 12 years ago.
mhm,
And
yeah.
that was they were referencing the zero moment of truth, that online research that a consumer does before making a purchase. Now you fast forward 12 12 years, 13 years, you have it's even evolved since then. Prior to that, they were saying that there was a linear pathway. Now it's just all bundled up in one. Like they're doing
Right.
everything all at the same time. They're hitting Instagram, they're hitting TikTok, they're hitting Facebook, they're
Yep.
hitting Google, and it's relatively happening all at the same time. And the one platform for our age group, the one platform for, I should say, real estate, the average age of the seller and the buyer, is Facebook still king.
Hmm.
But if there's one real winner, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
And the reporting that I saw is that YouTube is the one platform that goes straight across our age group in everything. Like we use Facebook, or excuse me, YouTube for for everything. So my I guess my thought process, or my point on making that, is that um, the way that sales are made now is is getting that authority and building that trust before you actually have a sales conversation,
Yeah.
because you're giving yourself in the I can't remember the exact statistic, but it was No, I do. It is. It's 91% of sellers, they use an agent. So like 90% of people who sell real estate in the United States actually use a real estate agent.
Hmm.
And 81% of those, based on the last year's data, most recent data, is that they only meet with one agent before they choose the agent to work with. So what I
Mm.
have said to real estate agents, and this is going to go true with mortgage professionals and such, is that your next meeting has already started, and it's based on
Yeah.
the content that you have deliberately put out there to let the consumer A, find you, and B, get to know you, like you, and trust you, or not know you, not like you or distrust you, because that's equally the same thing, because you're going to attract the people that actually, it's your
Right.
filtering mechanism. So I don't think that salespeople are perhaps as important as they once were, because a lot of the prospecting is attraction as opposed to, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I think, at the end of the day, it's all important.
It's all important.
It
Yeah.
like it's like it's a web. You have this omnipresent approach where you almost have to touch everything,
You have to.
and there's different silos of people in different things too. So there's folks that don't use Facebook at all. Like they are only Instagram people, or there's people who only use LinkedIn. And there's no way that you can reach them if you're not, meet them where they're at.
And the
But
interesting thing with that is it doesn't get easier as far as the work, but there's a lot of tools out there that makes it easier to be omnipresent, to post on it. There's still time that has to be done. We've talked about this an episode or two ago, that there's still that human interaction, which is why I'm going to be bringing on a virtual assistant. I'm still just
yeah,
dialing in my process, mostly for Semper Ruck, because you and I have a ton of content that we've created. I think this is episode number 111 by my count, which means it's more like 120 because I've lost some. But
the the nice thing when you get that person in place, obviously you're mapping out, your systems and processes. Now you can copy and paste that into, you
oh,
know
anything.
whatever you want. You have It's
Yeah.
like, hey, you're just swapping out this and switching to that.
Yeah.
So
Because there's automation involved too, because I'm going from Ecamm to Descript, Descript to Opus
right,
Clip, Opus Clips to deploy, but I'm also using Descript to go to YouTube. I'm going to Chat GPT and Grok to actually create the description and the titles. I'm using Video
yeah,
vidIQ. Like there's a lot of different things that I'm using that would normally, the production time was like a week per episode, that's taking it
right,
down to an hour, but I've still got to map out that hour, and I'd rather outsource that hour as opposed to me doing that hour every single day. Like
yeah.
I'm my own,
I know
I am right now my own bottleneck.
I know we've touched on this before, but uh self-hosting N8N, you should really check that out because it's
Tell me again. I
it's
remember us talking about NAN, and then I remember seeing it, but what function were we?
so the big difference. So you went on, you were checking out just like the general sales, which it's not it's not super agreeable price wise in regards to the uh to the way the public facing, but you can self-host it. It's not that difficult to set up, but it does everything. Oh, I just noticed the time.
Yeah.
I gotta boogie,
All
my
right.
man.
We'll unpack that next week.
Let's
Take
get it.
care. Bye.